begin tonight with opening remarks, and I'll go ahead and take care of that, and then the Pledge of Allegiance. And I've asked one of my two grandkids that are in the Scout uniform. Are you going to do that, Ensign?
Yeah.
Okay. So after I do the opening prayer, then you can do the pledge. Okay. Our kind Heavenly Father, we come before Thee this time. Pray that Thy blessing be upon us this night, that we might make wise decisions for all those in the city, and that we do proper good things, and that we might be able to remember our duties to uphold the laws of the state and the United States. We are grateful for the opportunity we do have to govern ourselves, and take that seriously and ask that Thy blessing be upon us. That Thou bless our city as we deal with the floods that come from the burn scars and other serious issues that we face at this time, as we pray in Jesus Christ's name.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Let's do a roll call. We'll start with Jim.
Jim Jason.
Nelson Abbott. Hi, all right, we need to have an approval on the agenda and a time frame adjustment to start this meeting at 7:04. What was that? Who did that? Jim moves on that.
I second.
Jared seconds that. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, any opposed? All right, public forum, Royce.
I think the only one left here is Adam Pierce.
Adam Pierce.
I just wanted to come and voice my concerns with issues on 1213 Quell Run Lane. My residence of where I have, in 2018, I had broken construction on a retaining wall / fence. In March of 2018, I contacted the city in regards to my fence that I was going to do, along with contacting my neighbors. I have the city as my neighbor, and I have Mr. Cole as my neighbor. Contacted both of them. The Coles a year before, when I planned to try the first year I was into my house. I contacted them about doing a fence and ended up not doing it until 2018. Mr. Cole was happy with the idea. He's fine with it and just, didn't want anything. I gave him an option of how to approach it. And we went ahead and we looked at the survey stakes that were there in the ground that had been there for the prior 5 years or so. Then I contacted the city, called the phone number, the public line that we have here, asked them and let them know of the construction that I was thinking about doing. And that I was planning on breaking ground this summer on a fence, and I asked them if there was anything that I needed. I have blue stakes coming, there any lines or anything, along with my neighbor in the back, if there was any lines and anything that we needed to address to make sure that we were on the same page. And as I talked to the city, my response was, no, there's no issue, just stay on the property lines, try to, just stay in the lines and you're good to go. It's just a fence, there's no building permit, nothing required. And I said, well, I'm not just doing a vinyl fence. I'm doing a cinder block fence that requires a retaining or a foundation and some dirt work to do, a little bit more expensive than a vinyl fence. And she asked, all I know is I heard her asking around the office of whoever she was around at the time, if there was anything that she should tell me, and they said, nope, he's good to go, no need. So that summer, starting in June of 2018, I had decided I broke ground. I had handshaken agreements with Mr. Cole, and we drew out the lines, we set lines, and we dug the hole, and we dug the trenches. A little bit of concern came up with the Coles prior to pouring concrete, that we decided that we needed to, he was concerned about the property line. And so I dug, and before we poured concrete, I went over with him, and his dad happened to be there at the time to help him out. And we went over those property lines again, and I showed him as the hole was dug, kind of how a footing works and where a wall goes and why a footing needs to be wider than an actual wall to support it. And after we had come to a conclusion that night, he had a handshake and agreement, and he handed me a check saying that it was, we're good to go, let's go ahead and pour concrete. So we went ahead and poured the footing of the concrete, and we laid up the first few feet of wall that following week, we are in June of 2018. And about the 14th of June, we finished the wall. It took us 2 days to lay up the wall. A total of, from my finished grade, is 4'8" from my finished grade of what I had planned on doing. And it's racked from about 10 feet to 8 feet on the coal side, which is to my neighbor about 4 feet lower than my neighbor's fence, just to put it in perspective of the coals. Our property lines adjoin and coal share my neighbor's property, and I have 90 feet, and the coal share with my neighbor about 50 to 60 feet. So his fence goes above the coals on that property line another 4 feet higher than what mine does. So I say that because 10 feet sounds like a daunting wall because of the situation, but my finished grade on my side, it is about 4'8" as of right now where my grade is. About a week later, I get a phone call from the city to say, come in here and we need to talk about your fence. Because by then I had backfilled, I had finished the wall, and I had backfilled my wall to the grade that I wanted. They called me in here, and I was met with David Jean, Royce, and Brian Squires. I'm not sure on the last names. The three of us met, and we had discussed about the wall height. That they had concerns about the wall, that I was retaining too much dirt, and if anything over 30 inches needed to have a building permit. I said, okay, that was news to me. I didn't know that. I didn't research enough to see my mistake. How can we fix this? And as we discussed it, we talked about a plan of getting a building permit, paying our $100, and proceeding to get the building permit, and we would see where it goes from there. I said, well, as long as they are, if this is the best case, and as long as I can make it right, I don't want to make any enemies here, just like I don't want to make any enemies with my neighbor. I want to make sure, and I contacted you and beforehand to try to keep from this happening, tried to cover all my bases before I actually put concrete in the ground. And so now after the fact that we're seeing that I'm over 30 inches, I said, well, I can just pull some dirt back and we won't have an issue. But this is where I would like my ground, so if this is where I'd like the height of my ground. If this is the case, if this is what we need to do to make it right and to make us both happy, then let's go proceed with the building permit and go through the jumps and hoops to be able to make sure this is done right and we're all happy. As we go along, I end up paying, along with that was an engineer permit from LEI that I agreed. I would leave the meeting, and I would, in appropriate time, the best I could, I would go and get an engineered permit and plans drawn up and submitted to the city, which was done the quickest as I could do it. But before I could get those plans in, I had a Brian Squires called me, the city, the county, or the ordinance officer at the time. I believe he's changed now, and I believe that's now David doing, either which way. He was the ordinance officer at the time, called and gave me an earful of, why don't I have these plans on my desk? This is ridiculous. You told me one thing and now you're doing another, and just gave me an earful. I said, hey, I submitted the plans 2 weeks ago. The weekend after we left, I had these in there, and I've got them and getting them as quick as I can. It's just not a big project for somebody to take on, and it's really difficult. And he called and wanted to call my bluff, and went and contacted LEI and said, all right, and they showed him that the plans were there. And then it took about another 2 weeks to get that in, get them with the submitted plans there and done. Told LEI just to do exactly how I built the wall, exactly how I did it from the ground up, how much footing I have, how much grout, how much rebar, all of that. And they did those plans just as I explained to them how I built it. Get that back, and after being threatened by David, or by Brian, that if I don't see these plans on my desk every day, I'm going to have a $50 fine every day that I don't see those plans on my desk. you know, doing what I can, doing the best I can. So after that, filling threatened there, I go and we get the plans, and I think, all right, we're submitted. I've done what we asked here, sitting down in our meeting. I've submitted the plans, and we've got everything to go. We should be okay. About 6 months go by, and in about January at this time, February, they come back to me and say, now we need to have a survey done, and it's going to come out of your pocket, but we need to have this plan surveyed. And we had a meeting back in March. It came across the city council about this retaining wall being, after it was resurveyed, that it was 10, we were showing 10 inches on the city property to the north, and about 8, about the same 8 to 10 inches towards the coal side. And it's consistent across the coals. It varies a little bit. It's about 8 inches, 10 inches to about 6 inches on the coals property. And with the city property, we're dealing with 50 feet. I'm 10 inches on on your property down to 0. So it's just a slight angle in that 50 feet. So we're talking maybe 20 to 25 feet. I don't know the math. That's just my guess. 25 feet. And it was brought before the council about the issue being on your property. And so after that discussion, and after I asked Royce to let me know if he's going to bring this to council to allow me to be there, let me know when you get all your ducks in a row and you have your paperwork ready, to let me know. He said it could be in a week, it could be next month, it could be the month after. We're really busy and I don't know. Happened to be the couple days later that it was here, and without me knowing, I wasn't able to be here. But luckily my neighbor was here at the time, and he was able to voice his opinion, saying, you know, our neighbors have been happy with the fence. It was just a misunderstanding about the stakes. And he relayed to me that the mayor was okay with it, that it wasn't an issue to be on their property. It wasn't enough property. There was no use for the property, that it would be okay, and there's no reason to go down this road. Let's just let it go, was what I was relayed from my neighbor. And so moving forward, we passed that hurdle, and I assumed that everything was good. I've never really had much back and forth communication with the city, other than 6 months down the road, all of a sudden here's a load of paperwork, or here's a list of things you need to do, which is understandable because we're trying to do this after the fact. Even though I tried to go do all this beforehand, it ended up taking, us down this road that's making it difficult to engineer and to do something that's already been built. And I understand the added cost that it's going to take to do this. But I've been trying to work with the city and trying to work with them, doing anything and everything, anything they've asked of me to this point, which required a $450 engineered plans and a $250 survey and a $100 down to get the building permit going. So I'm into it about $700 extra that I didn't plan on originally. So I should say that the first thing that I think that got on the radar of the city was, as we were digging the hole, I had hit a sprinkler. So my sprinkler had been hit, and I asked David showed up the day after I had finished the wall and said, all right, what's going on? This is, kind of talked with him, this is my situation. And as they turned the sprinklers on, we noticed that I hit one of their sprinkler lines as we were digging the hole. I said, I apologize, what can we do to fix it? And so I said, I can dig down and I can fix this as best I can. And he says, yeah, I even got a sprinkler if you want to just pay me for the sprinkler so we have the same head. That it would be easy for me to maintain. We don't have a different sprinkler. So I said, great. I'll dig down and I'll find the pipe and I'll get the pipe stubbed up and I'll get the sprinkler from you. About 3 days later, after I told him that I was going to work with him and I was trying to fix it myself, he had shown up I had got a bill from the city saying, here's a $275 bill, so another $275 to fix one sprinkler head, to fix that. And I gladly paid. I said, you know what, I thought we had an agreement to work it out and I could help you fix it, and I dug the hole all the way down and had the pipe exposed, and all he had to do was put on a fitting. I don't know, in my eyes, put on a fitting and put the sprinkler head. And my issue was not being able to shut the water off to the sprinkler line to fix it. So I needed to try to get some assistance to shut the water off, find the box and to fix it. But that one sprinkler head, over $45, he said the sprinkler head was, ended up costing me $275 for a pipe that was exposed to fix one sprinkler head. So that, moving forward back to having surveyed, resurveyed, and all the engineered plans submitted and in, thinking that we're done after the city council meeting, after you had passed off on the city council, after you said, you know what, the city's fine with this 20 feet. Somebody from the city, it was also brought up about the neighbor. Well, what about the neighbor side? The survey line shows his fence is on the, and I was quoted from my neighbor that the mayor had said that we as a city have no concern between what goes on between neighbors. And that's between the two neighbors to work out, and that's fine. So, day after, 2 days after the city council meeting, I was called in by Royce to talk about the fence, about the building permit, and be able to push forward. We needed to make sure that the neighbors were on the same page. And I said, I am. The neighbors, we are fine. I've had nothing but a good relationship with my neighbor. And I left the meeting. They came and said, nope, your neighbors have been in here. They've talked with us and they're not happy now. They are really mad about the situation and we need to do a whole property lot line adjustment, and it's going to cost you thousands of dollars to do it. But you have to do a lot line adjustment before we can proceed. And I said, well, I don't know anything about a lot line adjustment. I don't know if that's complete foreign to me, but I will go look into it and I will talk with my neighbor and we'll work it out. And I left and go to contact my neighbor after, again, never had an issue with my neighbor. I've always been on good terms with my neighbor. From day one, I've made sure he's known everything that's went on. I go talk to my neighbor and he is all of a sudden very mad at me. He decides that he is all of a sudden got it in his mind that I came through and I have worked something, I've been deceitful to him, and I haven't done things exactly how I've told him, because he was called in by the city after they'd had this meeting. Somebody from the city has called him in there and they told them that he's not on your property. The city wants to wash their hands of it. They don't think it's right, and that we think you should do something about it.
They try to get to a closing here as quickly as
Okay,
you can.
and so as I finished up after having a bad rapport, I ended up finishing up with my neighbor, and we covered all of that. I got a fence line agreement, and we are now done. Me and my neighbor are happy, and we have an agreement to that. And today, this last week, I get an email saying an additional $2,000 on the building permit with a landscape bond and a couple other fees, which were understandable. And on top of that, which is the main concern to me, was there's a $500 fee to be assessed because you finished your wall before the building permit was complete. I said, that's the whole reason we're here, is because I finished the wall, and you understand why we're here in this predicament, because I called you, you said it was okay, and now I'm here because of this. And so I don't believe that the $500 fine is applicable because of the situation we're in and because of the misunderstanding between the phone call that we had originally. And then the only reason that we have this building permit is because I'm retaining, at the highest point, I'm retaining 48 inches of ground. And the limit is, the only reason to have a building permit is if you're retaining more than 30 inches of dirt. So my proposal to save me money and to save the city money, and I told this from the day one, I can dig a trench and I can put a tier in there, so I'm only retaining 30 inches of dirt. And as I explained to him, that is an easy fix to me. Why not we just pull dirt back, not worry about the building permit, not worry about all these fines going to the city, and not worry about fines coming to me, or fines or fees, to pull that dirt back. And as I said that to Royce just today, he says, well then I will push to have your fence ripped down. And I don't understand why. That just seems like a better route for us both to be able to do. And so all I would like you guys to hear is that I'm working and trying to make this right, and I have been from day one, but I feel like I'm getting pushed back 10 times harder than I'm able to push forward to try to wrap this up. And I would just like on your ears to be able to understand the process that I've been through, and I believe harassment and that I went through because of all of the neighbors around me. I mean, I see all over Elkridge, people that have done retaining walls bigger than mine, the same as mine, and I feel like I'm the only one, and there's multiple people. In a quarter mile around me, there's 5 that I've talked to that don't have a building permit and have got fences bigger than mine, that have not been harassed by the city and have not had any issues with them because they haven't been on their radar or whatever. And that's all I'd like, is that you guys understand as we push forward, we need to make decisions on this fence later on how I can proceed to finish this up and to move on. And that's all I have.
Okay, great, thanks. Jared, can I talk to you after this meeting? All right. Thank you. No other public, so we'll move on to item number 1, 4-bay, committee decision.
So they're forming a committee. When I say they, it's Payson City and County, and they want Elkridge to have some representation in there. And I don't know, I think this is kind of more of a long-term plan, planning out certain things. Payson's got some things they want to do as it comes to like watershed, but I think, anyways, long story short, they want somebody to represent from Elkridge on that committee with the county and Payson to try to formulate something.
Right. So what I propose to the council is that we appoint Jared as our representative to that committee and have him work with that committee and representing Elkridge's.
It hasn't been created yet.
As it's created. So that would be my proposal to the council, is to make that appointment by motion.
I think that would be great. Because I've had some conversations with a couple of their council members, and they'd like us to be on the same page with them. So if they come in and say, this is what we want to do with 4-bay,
Yeah,
they want our support to help enforce what they're trying to accomplish on
and it's up
the
front.
uses. Yeah, that way we're involved in it, and we're
Pretty awesome.
we have a
Can we
seat at the
push for a
table.
parking
Great.
lot up at the top of the hill so we can go to get the 4-bay?
So are you okay making a motion so we can go out of here too?
I gotta get this out of Jared, I'm trying to.
Oh,
I move that we make Jared a representative for Elbridge City.
okay.
I'll second that.
Motion. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Now you got it. Would you like to?
You can't go on.
Would you like to ask him a question?
No, I was asking that before. because I
There
wanted
will
to-
be a lot of input from you guys.
I wish it could be accessible.
Who did the
Maybe
second?
You're gonna work on that.
Nelson did.
I did.
So I'm not jumping over and sneaking through fences to run back there.
All right. Item number, I'm sorry.
Just don't mention it.
I'm trying to work on this.
Okay, so item number 2. We did a poll vote, ratify or something we were gonna. But what we really need to do is just to make a motion for the amendment number 1011A for the public facility setback. Is that right?
It should be an ordinance 19.
Do we have a worded ordinance?
19-4?
Yeah. 19-4.
Is it to ratify?
No, we're just gonna start fresh. We didn't have an ordinance number.
Undo
all
what
that
you
good
did.
stuff. So we're just gonna do it again, all clean, fresh, brand new.
So now's your chance to vote yes this time.
So, yeah, the poll vote's not binding, I guess.
I looked at
We're not
you.
gonna make a decision based on that. Nothing's been done, so
So we're renumbering this?
we're numbering it.
Numbering it. These numbers
Well,
are-
this is the ordinance, but the amendment, the, whatever it's called. What are you doing, Royce?
So you're gonna amend the ordinance for 19-4,
No. Okay,
an ordinance number,
okay,
changing the code of 10, whatever number the,
yeah, right.
And this is the same thing we looked at.
Yeah, exactly the same thing.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we amend ordinance 19-4 to change the code under 10-11A public facilities setbacks as presented.
Great, that sounds great.
that works.
And we need to have a second
Second.
and a roll call vote. We'll start over with Paul.
I.
Aye.
Nay.
Okay, motion carries 3-2.
And my only
And your reason?
was because of the.
Same reason you had
Of
last
the
time.
light and
Similar.
similar uses. We've been black and white
And
and
the
that's
light.
in there.
Okay. So noted.
I don't have any problems with setbacks or anything like that. It's just that.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you stayed consistent.
Right?
No, Jim didn't, I know, he flipped on it, but that's
No,
okay.
Jim voted me last time.
Okay, we're gonna,
Just hit the dirt.
You're down for, yeah.
right, so I think we're not ready for the Airbnb discussion at this point.
Yeah, I gotta work on that for you guys.
Gotta work on that, so let's go to item number 4. We need a motion really to move this to public hearing. This does not go through
This will go through the planning.
planning commission, right? It's not land use, it's nuisance.
Yeah.
So
it
the
comes back
public
to us.
hearing
So
will
it
be
comes back
here.
to us. So
Yeah.
the public hearing was with us, right? What do you want to do?
You do
Royce?
not have to have a public hearing unless it's land use.
Oh, we don't have to have a
But
public,
this might be one you
This is
might want
one
to
I
have.
think it would
You might want, I was.
but we don't have to do the planning commission.
No, we
We
can do
just,
it here.
we want to move it forward.
But I would
for a
strongly
public
suggest we
hearing,
do the public hearing on this one.
for the city council. That's all
We have a
this is.
list of
That's all this
numbers.
is.
Oh, yeah, it's on the Utah Department of Heritage
Oh, yeah, yeah.
website.
Yeah,
There's like a whole booklet and everything you can get, shows pictures of them so you can identify them.
yeah. It's pretty amazing they have it.
I motion that we move the code amendment 10-4-2A-3, specific nuisances,
And
1, 2, 3 definitions.
put your.
Put to public comment with adding language as such that the fire chief and enforcement officer, that's already, the fire chief can deem, things that are flammable. That's what it is.
Yeah. Okay, we have a motion on the table,
Second.
and Jim seconds that. Just a decision about
Just a
public hearing.
decision.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, off the public hearing it goes. And we'll probably schedule that next week, or next time we meet. Yes, we'll make that.
I'll be eating.
All right, Dave, we're on for Premier Point Phase 3 release of durability and acceptance into the city. And you have a
Yeah, you got
letter stating
There's
such?
2 of them, right?
Well, it's only doing 4 right
Oh,
now.
we're only doing
Premier.
premier.
You can't do them both.
Yeah, we-
Premier Point Phase 3.
So we're releasing their durability.
And accepting into the
It's
city.
been expired.
I make a motion that we release Premier Point Phase 3 of durability and accept it into the city.
Do we have a
I'll
second?
second that.
Nelson seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we also have a release of durability for Harrison Heights Phase 11.
I'll make a motion that we release Harrison Heights Phase 11 from durability and accept it into the city. Second.
And we have a motion and a second by Jim. All in favor? Any opposed? Great. Number 7, financial review. We're early in the year.
I know.
That's just it, you still got lots of money.
Yeah,
Well-
that's the flip over.
The money has really actually come back.
Yeah, that's a good point too.
So,
There's
yeah,
a lot of money's
This
gonna
is true.
not come in
Property tax,
for about
sales
6
tax,
more months or
DC
7.
road funds.
Yeah. Royce, is there anything you feel we need to call out? We're pretty well,
Not for the first month, no.
we're just pretty well. I will probably make note that, and I don't know what line this would be on, but we're starting to accumulate
Is that
or
for the
accrue.
garbage?
Well, I didn't look at the garbage, but I was gonna say,
Yeah.
some cost in flood mitigation. Right? I don't know if we have any, do we have any money yet, Royce, in that? What line item is that? Or do we not have anything yet?
We don't have anything there.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't have,
I
okay.
didn't see it.
We've kept Dave in control.
So far.
I mean, to be fair, we've spent quite a bit of time,
Yes.
right? City time, right? Working canyon issues and whatnot, but no particular expense for that particular line item at the moment, that I know of. So, and garbage? Do you have comment on
No,
that?
I was just noticing when we're
This is
tracking.
the first,
separate.
first month, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
first month.
Yeah.
So we just need to pay attention to that going
What,
forward. It's on page 1,
21.
under receivables.
21, 22.
Oh, garbage, yeah.
Do you have expense on here for dumping fees for garbage?
Yeah.
I didn't find that.
These are this operating expense, waste
The
collection.
4,300.
4,300 on page 22.
What's
What's
page, Jared?
contracted?
Page
Oh,
22.
oh,
22,
2%.
4,300. 22.
It's all in there.
That's all, that's the
All right.
income and the,
Yeah, that's everything.
looks like.
And the backhoe thing,
You
are we
can-
gonna take that
so
out
we may
sometime?
need to-
That little item?
We're gonna use that for the depreciation money, the $9 thing. Yeah, we're gonna use that account for something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're cutting it thin.
Yeah, but when you look at the, we're only 8.3 into it, and we've used 10.49, so that means the cost to dispose of the trash is moving trash from the board budgeting.
And this new bill is, the rates did go up in the garbage.
And that would account for the difference between where we should be and where we are.
Mayor, do you want to use this as a segue for the sewer?
Yeah, let's talk about this as a segue into the sewer discussion just for a minute. If you remember right, and it's just bad. So if you remember right, we got a notice from Payson City that they were gonna raise our sewer rates 2%. That was based on the
CPI.
CPI, right? And that came to about 80 cents, and we voted to move that forward. Now, well, we got another call from Payson City, and they had experienced some difficulties on the main line that goes down past the bowling alley. And they had to make a repair there. He said, how much was that?
$2 million.
Like, it's a big deal. So they had to bond for it. So guess what? Sewer rates, they had to up.
What about
You
money
probably
they
know that.
transferred out?
Yeah.
What about the money that they transferred out of the sewer fund?
I can't speak to that.
Yep.
Can't speak to that.
But
But I did speak to some other things.
Yes. But if they raise our rate, their residents' rates have to be raised the same
Yeah,
amount.
and they did.
How'd that
They did
go?
exactly the same thing. In fact, we now actually have the formula that they use to calculate our rates based on the agreement that we signed in the year 2005. 2004, I think. Yeah. So, because I checked on that and made sure that they understand where we come from as far as maintaining and doing our own depreciation, all that, right?
Well, and in that particular case, that's their line in their city. So that really, from my perspective, shouldn't have been passed to us, even if.
Well, I understand that's the line, the one big line that goes out, and our poop flows through it.
But they shouldn't have transferred all that money out, and maybe we could have paid
No.
for it.
I don't even know how to go down that.
Yeah.
So consequently,
Just-
as a matter of discussion, that's $1 and
32 cents more.
32
They just
cents.
keep going
Per
up.
month.
Yep.
Holy moly.
You just fasten your seatbelt, wait till they bond for the improvements to the plant.
We go to Salem. We
You don't want to go to
So you
Salem.
don't want to go to Salem.
They're more.
Salem's a lot more.
They built a new plant.
Why is it more? Because they're building a plant.
I
And they
thought
have-
they were
Because-
both stopped until.
And they have to meet new regulatory compliance.
Yep.
And it's not gonna go anywhere but up, because Payson's gonna have to deal with the phosphorus, phosphates and nitrates too.
Pretty soon, everybody's gonna have to be like Santaquin. Of course, their sewer rates are like $75 a month, but they have a state-of-the-art facility. You walk in, you
Oh,
don't
yeah.
even know you were in a sewer plant.
It's
You
a
wouldn't
pretty,
even know.
it's a pretty neat plant. It's awesome.
It is.
Should we add-
$75 a month also?
I don't want to go
I
there.
don't think so.
So anyway, that's gonna be coming, we just want to let you know tonight that from this budgetary discussion that you're gonna be looking at a decision that has to be made probably next week, next time we meet.
They're charging us, they gave us one more month
Yeah,
at the old rate.
they offered to just, keep it at the rate for another month so we could react to it, but.
Well, that was nice of them. I mean, last time they didn't.
No, that was, it was a cordial meeting.
We tried to
Don't you think,
negotiate.
right, but
Yeah, it was a cordial.
I mean, I wish I could have got more, but it's hard to go in there and say, and fight the agreement that our previous mayor and council
Yeah.
approved
You're right.
without starting over.
right.
You know what I mean? We'd have to start over with an
And
agreement.
if we started over, it'd be like with the garbage, where we would have a separate fee and we'd pay a metered amount.
Right.
And then it would be up to us to get our residents to conserve and not flush as much stuff to keep our costs down.
That ain't gonna happen.
But,
And-
You lost me there.
no, in other words,
So anyway.
the kids are gonna have to
If
use
it's yellow,
a
let it mellow.
proportionate amount
That's
of
what
toilet
we need to
paper,
go in.
not a whole roll every time they go.
So that would be.
And you'd have to quit sending food down your garbage disposal.
Or flush the toilet just to watch the water go down.
So how they do it is they, depending on how much water is used, culinary water, they adjust their fees to that. You have your base fee and then they add on top of that.
Yeah, how much was it per, $1.16 or something like that? Per
1,000.
1,000 gallons of their culinary use. What they did for Elk Ridge in the agreement is they settled on an average over the year of 8,000 gallons a month of culinary use per home. I don't know if that's high or low, I could run the numbers, but I haven't figured it out. I could-
Winter use.
It's,
yes,
well, it's probably.
But it's pretty close.
It's probably on the low side.
Yeah,
Unless
I
you've got
don't-
like one or two people in your house.
I don't complain too much about that, I thought that was reasonable at 8,000, right? I
This
thought that was
is,
reasonable.
from my perspective, this is the perfect version of an unfunded mandate where the EPA came in and has forced this on us and has made everybody have to spend more money to deal with an issue where the technology really hasn't been perfected, and so they're spending a lot of money and not getting a really quantifiable result.
So if they expand the plan, is there any discussion or hopes of maybe we contribute to that and then we have a say at the table on these decisions?
Haven't had any discussion. All the other things,
Would that be a good
Well,
idea?
I haven't had anything.
That was a discussion back with Mayor Shelley, that
Yeah.
wasn't on.
That is a discussion that they.
Because right now, we don't have, well, I mean,
Well, so if they decide to
we
raise
have to
their sewer
remain silent
rates.
on this, we don't have a seat at the table.
No, we don't. I mean, they go in and
They have to
transfer
pass
money from
numbers.
the general, from the sewer fund into the general fund. We don't even have the ability, for all intents and purposes, to go in and sit in a council meeting and let them hear what we have to say. Because, I mean, we're being taxed without representation.
It's so cheap.
In a way.
I mean, in a way, I
The
mean,
service.
that's kind of where we're at. But I think that,
We
I
could-
think because of the direction and the trajectory that Payson is moving on with a lot of other services, I think, even this 4-bay thing is a perfect example of it. I think we are to a point now where we need to just start asking, can we have a seat at the table when this is being discussed? Can we be involved in the process so that we know what's going on, so we can prepare ourselves? And I think that they would probably be very agreeable to it.
I think now they would.
Yeah, I really think so. I mean, the fact that they've even opened up the 4-bay committee in that regard is huge.
We have a pretty good relationship right now. I mean, we have an option if you can get the water down to some way to exit down to the lake somehow, to do our own sewer plant, but
Well, you know what, we actually own
I'm pretty
16%.
sure rates will go up.
We own 16% of a piece of property out there.
That's a long pipe.
I know it's a long.
That's a long
We
pipe.
own 16% of that property for the regional sewer plant.
No pun intended.
She says it's a
So-
long stinking pipe.
Well, yeah, it would be a long
It's been fun,
stinking
wasn't
pipe.
it?
I don't think
I
we
pity anybody that has to live in front of that pipe and have gases coming out.
But we looked, we'd love to, right? To do our own plant, because they're very self-contained anymore, and there is no real then you just got two, the big issue is getting rid of the water in the winter. In the summer, we could use it for secondary on our parks and whatnot. That'd be a great use for that water, right?
Trish, that water,
We won't go there.
that water comes out of those plants cleaner than is in the rivers.
It's amazingly
I
clean.
can't talk about it, guys.
Mhm.
I'll start
That's
dragging
just
you
so
in
you know.
writing.
I survived drinking the water in LA.
That's fine.
I'm
No,
telling you.
but that was why it came out of the sewer
Life's
plants.
drop.
Have you drank water in an Armand Pro somebody's tap?
Yeah, I lived in Provo for 5 years.
Okay, well then you've already been there, done that.
It's good water. They didn't take it to the last stage to make it drinkable, drinking
guys-
qualified.
Stop ruining my
But
life.
they use it in secondary water too. Water your lawns with it.
That'd save us a lot of money.
Saves a lot of money. A lot of money. In fact, theirs is actually a closed system for the most part. All right, review of minutes and approval of the minutes, I should say.
We should charge you out.
For me.
Yeah.
Just put some ponds up there.
I don't, I'm not in concert with you. I thought everything was good.
Short last week. Okay, you know what I want.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the city council meeting minutes from August 13th, 2019.
And who seconds that?
Second.
Jim, thanks, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And a motion to adjourn
Make a motion to adjourn?
on the second.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Aye what?
You're opposed?
Sound like 4-1 to me.
Close the meeting.
We're done.